everyone, I would like to call this meeting to order. If everybody would join me in silencing your cell phones and in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any correspondence?
We had correspondence that we emailed out to the board last week.
Thank you. Moving on to item B, public comment. Is there any public comment this evening? If you have public comment, please come up to the table, speak your name clearly. You are limited to 3 minutes. The board cannot discuss any item with you as public comment.
Okay, I just put this around so you guys can follow along or file it in your trash can, whatever you'd like to do. It's fine. My name is Aubrey Loftus. I'm a mother of 4 school-age boys. My family's been running the district since 2018. A few weeks ago, I sent you guys a letter. Only 4 members responded to that letter. Of those responses, it was just acknowledgement of receipt. That engagement reflects a larger issue, which is accountability. The board promotes a zero tolerance policy on bullying, yet we see it in schools and even in meetings. This does not reflect good standard. Bullying in this district is not limited to students, it's staff behavior as well. My family experienced this firsthand when a substitute teacher assaulted my son. The case is settled, and in the years since, the problem is not proved. It's got worse. So I have to ask, why is the staff with repeated complaints still in classrooms? Sorry, I'm shaky because I don't do public speaking. Sorry. Why are students known for aggressive behavior allowed to return with little to no consequence? Why are parents told that the harmful behavior doesn't meet the definition of bullying? Labels don't matter when your child is being harmed. Over the past 6 years, we've met with teachers, principals, district leaders. Too often the concerns are dismissed. In several cases, we've made the difficult decision to homeschool. Not because we wanted to, but because we felt that that was the only way to protect our children. And even then, we faced unfair judgment from staff. We're not alone. I've spoken with multiple parents and teachers over the recent weeks. The stories are consistent. Students being humiliated, excluded, and targeted, sometimes by other students, sometimes by staff. And the teachers are facing unfair expectations by superiors. In one case, one elementary student was repeatedly removed from class and made to sit in the hallway where he was yelled at while crying. Over time, he became isolated and a target for bullying. He's now homeschooled. We have students with special needs who are being singled out, students being mocked for showing emotion. Parents are being dismissed when they raise concerns. In most serious cases, students are pushed to the point where they feel completely alone and have attempted to commit or have committed suicide. This is not just a policy issue, it's a culture issue. Our children deserve better, parents deserve to be heard, and this board should be leading that change. Your actions set the tone for the district. Right now, the example is not strong enough. It's time for real accountability, consistent protection for students, and a commitment to making every school in this district a safe place to learn. No more excuses. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kim Jones. I'm a teacher at Sonoma and then also a parent of a student at Frenchford. After the last school board meeting, I have a few things that I wanted to share. First, it was mentioned that students were talked to by board members regarding their thoughts on the 4-day school week. I heard it said that students want to be in school 5 days. I have not seen a board member come to my school, nor had a school board member come into my room, speak to me or my students. Granted, my students are pre-K, but if given the information, they will be happy to share their opinions on it. I have friends and family that teach in the district. Nobody's come in and talked to them to get their opinion. We have the data from the student survey that says 80% out of the 412 responses strongly or somewhat support 4 days for the 4-day week. So maybe some of the board members could come in and talk to us and see why we actually want it, other than just assuming it's because we want a 3-day weekend. Second, childcare was discussed, and I wanted to share that prior to coming to the school district, I ran a reputable licensed home childcare and preschool, and here for many years. And for a few years prior to coming to the district, I ran my business Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. and I provided services for 12 children, and a good portion of those families were employees of the school district. And even with my hours being what they were, I never had someone turn away from enrolling with me because I was Monday through Thursday. When my spots did come open, very rarely, it was usually because students were going to kindergarten or they were moving out of the area. My positions were filled within days, if not within hours. Then grandparents, siblings, high school students were able to assist those families to cover their Fridays. And that was before we had the ELC, the Boys and Girls Club, and small lenders. There were just 2 of us that were licensed toll providers. And lastly, many of us watch the school board meetings with our children, and we encourage our students and their families to also watch so that they can be in the know and be aware of what is going on in our school district. The way some of our elected board members spoke to other members and people in the community that were here last meeting was disrespectful, condescending, and downright disheartening. As teachers, one of the many things we teach daily is to be kind and respectful. And unfortunately, we did not see that behavior in the last meeting. And as the faces of Humboldt County School District, I'm hoping that going forth, you can all be an example of how we want our students to treat and talk to each other. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ryan Huber, and I'm here today regarding disrespectful conduct by a board member also, more specifically Nicole Chia. This letter is submitted and presented to formally express concern regarding the conduct during the most recent meeting. It has been observed that this individual has displayed condescending and disrespectful behavior toward the board secretary and members of our school staff who were invited to present information to this board. Such behavior undermines the professionalism and collaborative spirit that should define the board's interactions with district employees and parents. The secretary and staff members serve vital roles in supporting the board's work and ensuring that accurate information is provided for decision making. When they are treated with disrespect, it not only affects morale, but also discourages open communication and transparency within the district. The board is entrusted with setting an example of integrity, respect, and accountability. Every member's conduct reflects on the entire body and influences how the community perceives the district's leadership. It is therefore essential that all board members adhere to the highest standards of professionalism and treat all parents, staff, and colleagues with courtesy and respect. It is respectfully requested that the board address this matter promptly. Consideration should be given to reaffirming expectations for professional conduct during meetings and interactions with parents, staff, and your own secretary. Providing a reminder of the board's code of ethics or adopting a statement reinforcing respectful communication may help prevent further incidents and restore confidence among parents and staff members. Thank you for your attention to this important issue and for your continued commitment to maintaining a positive and respectful environment within the Humboldt County School District.
Thank you. Good evening. For those of you who know me, I'm Dawn Hagnes. I have 2 children who have gone through or going through our school district. They came as a kindergartner and a first grader, and one has graduated, my other one is a senior. I also served as assistant superintendent for Humboldt County School District for 8 years before retiring. I sat in these same meetings on the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays with many of you, working alongside a superintendent and a board I respected deeply. I'm here tonight not to submit a letter, but to speak directly to you, because you know me, and I believe this matters too much to say from a distance. I want to express my disappointment, not just from the most recent meeting, but from a pattern of interactions I've observed over several meetings. Yes, I still watch them. If the strategic plan on your website is still a guiding document today, I'd like to point the Board to Board of Trustees goal number 3. To establish safe and respectful learning environments across all schools with a shared commitment to culture, where students, staff, families, and community members can expect respectful interactions and behavior modeled by adults. We often say the culture of a school begins with its staff and administration. I would argue the culture of an entire district begins right here with you. I was genuinely excited to see, and I'm sorry she's not here tonight, to see a student added to the board. It's something we've talked about for years,
and it's a powerful opportunity for her for learning and leadership. But I have to ask you, are the interactions that have taken place in this room recently the example we want that student to learn from? Because right now at the high school, students and staff are making jokes about the behavior of you in this room. Because that should give us all something to pause about. Now, I also want to acknowledge something important. Your job is not easy. You are under a great deal of pressure. You've made extremely difficult decisions, ones that impact people personally and emotionally in a small community like ours. And you're part of that. It's your community. And for that, I do commend each of you. I do. It takes courage to sit in those seats and do this work. But with that responsibility comes something more. I would challenge each of you to do something we often ask of our teachers. Go back and watch yourselves in a meeting that's been recorded. Not to be defensive, but to be reflective of the actions of the entire group. Because what you will see is what your stakeholders are seeing, whether they're here in the room or they're watching it at home. I know you. Collectively, you are better than what has been displayed recently. You can disagree, you can have passion, you can stand firm in your beliefs and have fierce conversations. But you can do it without demeaning, without yelling, and without talking over one another. There was a time when we were proud of how this board right here conducted itself. We used your meetings as an example of professionalism and respect. We talked about this board and said we were like no other board in the district, and we very much so named very specific districts we never wanted this board to look like. Lately, that has shifted, and your meetings are beginning to resemble the very ones we once criticized. I'm sharing this tonight because I care deeply about this district. I'm still a parent here, and I still take great pride in the work being done across Humboldt County School District. I simply ask each of you to lead in a way that reflects that same pride, so that the culture we expect in our classrooms is the culture we model right here. Thank you.
Afternoon. My name is Kristen Flanders. I'm not coming here as a letter for me. I'm reading one from Sarah Irose because she couldn't be here today. So, and I know that she was going to be sending this as an email as well to everybody, but she wanted it read at the board meeting. Dear board members, I would like to start this email by stating that your work in this district has been efficient, fair, and very effective. However, the behavior, remarks, and lack of decorum at the last meeting will be an experience that overshadows all other endeavors you have made. If we discuss making decisions based on the kids and what helps them, let's please lead by example. Interrupting the presenter and disregarding factual information to serve your personal agenda, is also extremely unprofessional and biased. The presentation included community input, including students, parents, and teachers. However, the issue created was hearing from affluent families about the 4-day school week. If you would please define what affluent means in terms of the relationship between stakeholders in our community and schools. If you would, could you also take into account who is sending their students to school consistently, enrolling them in sports and other extracurricular activities, and expecting good grades to stay in those activities? Yes, while the school schedule change shouldn't favor sports, those affluent families you disregarded are the ones who are the biggest stakeholders in our schools. They should not be discounted because of the lifestyle and careers they chose. As for Winnemucca being an anomaly, this is just not true. The perspective you all chose to focus on was the population of Winnemucca and how we don't compare to other communities, which is also a very biased opinion that holds no ground. Other states with populations much larger than ours are following a 4-day week. Colorado, for example, has nearly 60% of its districts on a 4-day week. One of those districts, serving Brighton, Commerce City, and Thornton, has 109,800 people in its district. In Texas, more than 200 districts are on a 4-day school week, with the largest being 6,500 students. In Oregon, over 80 school districts follow a 4-day school week, ranging from 700 to 1,500 students. She has also listed the sources at the end too, by the way. So the argument that our population is different is used as an excuse rather than reliable data. On the same thread, unreliable data that was thrown around from 3 years ago includes personal, unverified, and biased responses that came from phone calls, Facebook messages, discussions with board members' own children, completely disregarding the 400 plus other students who filled out the survey, and discussions with administrators. Again, all unverified and all biased. You ignored the data that was collected and presented and made excuses in order to invalidate the actual responses. Then you suggested a committee be formed to research a 4-day week, an explanation of why input from the community, parents who attended and spoke at the meeting, the Boys and Girls Club, executive director, an administrator, and a coach was omitted would be very helpful. As an educator that does spend time with students 5 days a week, I can tell you firsthand that not only athletes, but also regular students who may or may not fall under the fluent label provided by you would benefit from a 4-day week. Regardless of sports, students miss school for all sorts of reasons, and while they miss this time, an extra day to make up work would benefit those students. This extra day would not only be for makeup work, but also for mental health reasons. According to the survey that just came out to our school, mental health is still at the forefront of needs and is still lacking in this district. I urge you to consider the idea that if nothing changes, nothing changes. This includes test scores as well. These students are in school as if it were a full-time job.
Ms. Flanders, I will have to ask you to kind of wrap it up.
Okay.
Hit your 3 minutes.
Okay. Let me just go in conclusion. As a viewer in the board meeting, it was apparent and painfully obvious that some board members were poised to attack and were never open to the discussion that the community served wants to have so badly. It is unclear why your behavior was aggressive, inflexible, and interruptive. I walked away from that meeting along with many others from the community feeling that you never wanted to hear from us, or even more so, your opinion on this topic is self-serving, which is not what you are elected to do. Respectfully,
You said-
Sarah Irose.
She emailed that, correct?
If she hasn't, she will.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
Just that way we get the entirety of it as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further public comment? Seeing none. Moving on to item C, action to adopt the agenda. Is there any questions regarding the agenda this evening? Okay, seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
A motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Who got the second? Sorry.
I did.
Lonnie. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item D, superintendent's report.
All right, thank you. On Thursday, April 16th, I spent the day attending our monthly MAS meeting virtually. During the meeting, we continued to work on our INVEST document that will be presented to the board next week, and receive state updates on district performance framework and student accountability from the Center on Assessment. I can tell you that this was met with disapproval, and their proposed accountability system looks eerily similar to the one we have now. It does not take into account a holistic look at student success, but rather relies on state assessment scores as its sole metric. It was disappointing and will continue to fight for including measures that matter for our community, such as student job placement, CTE certification, and industry-ready skills that matter. There was also an update from the committee on the PCFP, and they're working to change a few key items. Whether it gets past legislation or not we'll see. But one of the big moves would be to move the whole harmless threshold from 5% to 3%. And what that means is if you lose more than 5% of your students, you actually get last year's funding. That's what it is right now. They want to move it down to 3%, which is right about what percentage of students we lost this year, and some districts have seen anywhere from 3 to 4. No one ever hits that 5% threshold. So that would be a significant change if they can lower that threshold to support districts. And then finally, again, we worked on finishing the INVEST document that will be shared at the next board meeting. I'd like to remind the community that we have registration open for next year's kindergartners. The earlier you can register your child, the more helpful it will be for our team as we plan staffing and classroom placements, especially with the K-6 changes. You will see flyers posted around the community, posts on Facebook, and links on our website to provide information about registering your child, and we're happy to have your student for the next school year. The insurance committee, which includes Trustee Hammergren, Mrs. Ramirez Mount in the audience, and several others, interviewed our current broker and a new broker 2 weeks ago to consider best options for our employees. After the interview process, a new broker, A&H Insurance, was chosen. The committee was incredibly diligent, taking the time to ask thoughtful questions and relay what matters to our employees as we considered a switch. Insurance rates are skyrocketing in our districts and quite frankly everywhere. And the committee felt that A&H provided us with the best partnership moving forward to control these costs and provide quality healthcare coverage for our employees. Last Friday, Trustee Trustee Moser and myself had the opportunity to meet with the Community Foundation of Northern Nevada about the Arvada School. We're down to a few minor details in the contract and the legal teams are meeting to iron these out. We hope to have a contract to bring to the board within the next few meetings. And I know Ms. Yeoman's been instrumental in getting feedback from the Arvada community that will play into ironing out these details as we move forward. I want to thank Brooke Byrne and then Bree, who's sitting back in the audience, for their work in submitting a grant to support our comprehensive mental health efforts in the district. If awarded, this would provide Humboldt with $1 million a year to provide additional certified nursing, a licensed clinical social worker and family liaisons, transportation and other mental health treatment options to support that top tier of students that needs intensive wraparound services to be successful in our schools. Writing grants and gathering information is a massive amount of work and effort, so I really want to thank Bree and Brooke for all they've done on this. I want to quickly thank Nevada Gold Mines for their continued support as they provided us with money to support the sober grad parties at both Lowry and McDermott. I know I say this all the time, but I'm always in awe at the contributions from our mining communities that support our schools and our students. And finally, teacher appreciation is next week. I know I speak for everyone on this board when I thank every classroom teacher in this district. The job you do has become so challenging and thankless, but it doesn't go unnoticed. The heart and passion that you pour into your students' lives every day will never go unmeasured. Our schools have fundamentally shifted over the last decade, and we're now a place not only for education, but medicine, dentistry, therapy, and just, quite frankly, safety. And as educators in a classroom, you are that frontline support every day. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for all you do, and I appreciate each and every one of you for your contributions in the classroom. And that is my report.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Colby? Seeing none, moving on to item E, district celebrations. Do we have celebrations this evening?
A couple. We'll have Dustin start off, and then I think we have another one after that.
We wanted to honor our champions of Skills USA who each year do a phenomenal job at Lowry High School. So I don't know that we have them all here, but Thomas Bogus, first place in electrical construction and wiring.
Firing at Bronson, Shane Hero, Pennywood,
And Alana Deputy, second place welding fabrication team. Alana. Should know that. And Jalen. Jalen. Sculpture. It's pretty incredible.
Congratulations, guys.
Pictures? All right, so come on up.
Come on up.
Good job.
Come on closer.
Yeah, you guys just line up right there.
You're good.
Okay, let's try that again.
I got mine.
It's there. You can see that. You know what? I'm sorry, I gotta close that
There.
because
Okay.
Claire, you all look like you're in heaven and you're not there yet. Oh, that's much better. Okay. One more. Thank you.
Good job.
Congratulations.
Jody. Hi, Jody.
Joe. All right, we have one more, so I'd love to call Mr. Rick Harris up front. Mr. Rick Harris is the president of NASB, and he has a special presentation for us tonight, Rick, so the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to be here with you tonight. It's always a pleasure to be with at the Humboldt County and see the fine work you do for your students in the community. This evening, I have the privilege of recognizing trustee Ron Moser for earning his certified public official certification through our Association of School Boards. This certification represents a significant commitment, not just of time, but of mindset. It reflects a dedication to continuous learning, strong governance, and understanding the important role a board member plays in supporting student success. And I'll share a quick fun fact about Ron. You probably already know it, but he always comes to our meetings early, like an hour early. So that tells you everything about you need to know about his commitment. He's always prepared. Ron, this accomplishment shows your dedication to growing as a leader, asking thoughtful questions, and working to be the very best trustee you can be for your students, your district, and your community. On behalf of NASB, I want to thank you for your commitment and congratulate you on this well-earned achievement. Congratulations, Ron.
Yeah. Hey, you two gotta come up there.
Okay.
I get to be in the front for once.
Good job, Ron.
Come on.
Okay, just do you two then. Okay, you want one with your mom and dad on?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, one with your mom and dad.
You gotta give it back too.
It's your accomplishment, we're celebrating you.
It's for everybody. It's for everybody. This makes us all look good.
We can get with that.
Come on. You look great.
Rick, get up here again too.
All right.
Run. Run for us?
He's almost there.
He's coming. You're so short, I can actually see people behind you. I can't see them, just ahead. Oh, that's great. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait. Right in the middle. You have a nice big white line. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Susan.
Good job, Ron. Okay, and we're celebrating.
No more celebrations.
Okay. Moving on to item F, the consent agenda. Does anybody have any questions on the consent agenda this evening? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Oh, my gosh.
You can get it.
I'm going with you. Okay,
Okay.
Jenna.
It's been
I had
motion-
3 at the same time.
it's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor?
Bye.
Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item G, discussion and possible action items.
All right, I will begin the evening by asking Mrs. Carlson and Ms. Taylor to come up to the front. This was requested by a board member at the last meeting, but quite frankly, it was time to go back and celebrate and talk about the work that this group has done. I think Bree came to us at the beginning of the year, but it's been about a year since we've had an update. So I've asked them to come and speak about the MTSS program that they've really worked to just really get off the ground and just grow this year. And we're seeing some unbelievable results, as you got to hear from the trustee Woodman last week. And so this is their opportunity to share and kind of brag about themselves and our students in school a little bit.
We're
So,
bragging about ourselves, we're bragging about your staff.
yeah, so you're part of that too. You're part of that too. Nice try. But
Do you have the?
yep, you're up and good.
Okay. All right, so you already introduced me, you guys probably already know me, and you know Bree, right? So we work really hard together. Bree does a lot of the work. But if you remember right, we came at the beginning of the year and we told you we needed to restructure MTSS, right? We said we had tier 1 stuff working, which is universal, right? Universal supports for everybody. We had those in place, and then we had tier 3 in place, right? But we had nothing in tier 2. So we knew we needed to do something there. We also knew that when you go into rebuilding, it's really messy, right? Everybody's trying to build the plane while you're flying away, right? So what we did first, so back up a little bit, this slide here. We wanted to meet the needs of the whole child. And with Bree here coming on these last couple of years, she's really opened our eyes to that, right? We were always kind of just pigeonholed into stuff, but her being a nurse has really brought lots of good stuff to the table, right? That we didn't even know we were missing. So we wanted to really make sure that we were meeting the whole child, right? So if you go to the next slide, this is where we started. We started by just defining all of the tiers. What exactly is tier 1? So everybody knew what that was. What exactly was tier 2? And what was tier 3? So that was a big undertaking, and so everybody kind of had a shared picture of what those tiers were. So we rolled that out at the beginning of the year. The next slide then shows what we did next was forming teams, right? So we needed teams. We always had one MTSS team that kind of did everything, but we knew that we needed to have different teams. So we kind of restructured that. So we kind of gave every school site, they could do it the way that they wanted to do it within some parameters though, right? Because we wanted to make sure that we had that tier 2 covered because we weren't covering it before. So this is just kind of an example of what we did for tier 2, where we were pulling in different representatives, you know, like somebody who is a special ed representative, a multilingual or multi-language coach, social workers, counselors, admin, all of those people then could come to the table so that when we had a student who was struggling with something, we could bring that to those people and we could kind of meet their needs and have a comprehensive team to look at what would happen, what they do. So this is what we did with that structure. So we're really starting to get some systems in place that will work, right? You can go to the next slide. Again, we knew it was going to be a rebuilding year, but we saw really good improvement in tier 1. We partnered with UNR and got PBIS up and running in places that it wasn't really running quite right. So we've done some things like that. I know, Colby, you probably talked about iReady, bringing in iReady as a universal screener, whereas before we had MAP. But now we have something that we can progress monitor a little bit easier. Tier 2 is really where we focused this year, and we got really, really good at a lot of sites at identifying kids who had social and emotional or mental health issues and things, so that we could actually say, okay, what's going on with Sally, right? And I think about, like, at the grammar school, and Nikki Bingachi is the dean there, and I remember sitting with her at the beginning of the year and saying, okay, so she's like, I'm not quite sure I understand how this is gonna work. They jumped in, and then she said, she came to me probably through the school year, and she said, oh my gosh, we have been able to catch so many kids that we would not have caught before, right? Because maybe the social worker had noticed that this student was struggling with something, and then she just kind of was doing some stuff with them. This way she could bring that student's name to the table, right? And then we could all kind of brainstorm what would work for him or her, right? And actually make plans for them. In Panorama, we make plans, and then everybody can kind of track what's going on with that student. We do the same thing with academics, with iReady and things like that, right? So that's been really exciting. And then tier 3 teams, we've continued to follow loosely the ICAP model to actually do personalized plan, individualized plans, give them supports. And then if they need to be reevaluated or moved to evaluation for a special education referral or anything like that, then it'll go that way. But this way, we're catching kids a lot earlier than we have ever before. So the next slide is just some data that you can look at. This isn't really comparable to anything because we've never, ever kept this data before, right? So we've never really talked about MTSS requests as in tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. It's always been tier 3, right? So although we have actually referred this about the same number of kids to special education at this time of year as we have before, we've caught so many more kids that we wouldn't have caught before, right? We're catching them before they fail. And then the next slide, I believe, is the data from 3, right?
Yeah. So here's to go along with the whole child model as well as trying to be on the proactive and preventative side of things. We're so fortunate to have the community support that we do have. Listed up there, our partnership with HGH, they do annual screenings at each of the school sites. The asterisk is there because May 18th will be Grammar and Grass Valley's days, but then also our partnership with Dr. Whitney Bryant from Sagebrush Smiles. She's the mobile dentist that comes to schools, and you can see, and she comes in the fall and the spring with the intention of being on that 6-month cleaning schedule, and we still will be at the elementary sites next week, actually. So there's been 239 kids seen for dental, and that's not including our spring dental visits. So she sees and provides a lot of services, but I absolutely need to give kudos to Dr. Gibson for seeing some of our students who have a difficult time with transportation, who have more intensive needs for their oral health. And so he's done pro bono work for 15 of our students and continues to support us, which is so grateful, because if these issues were not being addressed, it's so hard to learn if you have a mouthful of pain, if you have a health condition going on untreated. So we're very fortunate to have the community support that we do.
And that kind of rolls right into that tier 2, right? I mean, as a teacher says, something's going on, and then we have somebody like Bree that can come in and go, let's look at health too. Let's not just look at social emotional, not just academics, but yeah, I mean, if they're struggling to eat something because they have so many cavities, right, which we've seen, you know, and there's been a couple of times that you've got some pretty big stuff. So, I mean, that's something that we didn't have before. So, kudos to you. All right, and then the last slide is, this I already went over that. You can skip that. Sorry, that was out of place. Sorry. So our next steps, again, just continue the work, right? It was messy. Some sites did better than others. I know Lowry's done some really great stuff that they hadn't been doing before, and we've got plans in place for Lowry students that we never have had before, right? Health plans and, academic and social emotional ones that we never had before. So we're going to continue to strengthen all of those tiers and keep going. So that's about it.
Thank you, ladies. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Thank you guys, that's a lot of kids. Oh, well, I'm getting the same for dental, so that's huge.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Lori?
Yeah, I was just want to say, ladies, you've done a great job with this, and I just, Lisa and I happened to be golfing together one day and started talking about it, and I'm just going, whoa, the board needs to hear this, because it's really, we're on the road now of helping these children that just one little glitch is holding them back, and now you folks are finding those things, those little problems, and pretty soon that child's in tier 1. We've got tier 2
that's
and
all
they're
they
in tier
need
1.
are the universal supports.
Right, so I just
And a lot of
appreciate.
times we used to jump right to tier 3 because we thought it was just their academics when it was maybe a dental problem. They're not focused, they can't even pay attention to learn because of something else.
Yeah, maybe they're hungry or whatever.
Exactly, and that's, yes. So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you guys.
Great job, guys.
Appreciate it.
Moving on to item 2, regular discussion and update on district maintenance program to include current operations, summer projects, and future major infrastructure needs.
Yeah, so I got this for me. Thank you for coming back. It was requested you come out, I think, quarterly or on a regular basis and just provide us with updates. So I will turn the time over to you. I believe you have some thoughts ready to share.
Good evening, board. I'm just gonna come and break down a few things for you real quick about what's happened since the last time I met. I'll start off with the work orders. I'll go through that, and then you guys can ask me questions about the work order system, whatever you guys want to do. So as I was walking up here, we had 35 work orders, 14 of which are for McDermott. That probably will go down to either tomorrow or Thursday when I get my report back from Richard. He has sent me a weekly report on either Wednesday or Thursday of like what's going on up there and what he's accomplished and what needs to be accomplished, and then we make a plan to send guys up there to help them get the other stuff accomplished. So we have 4 of that up. 2 of those, we need to take some equipment up there, fill some potholes by the main parking lot into the playground area, and then we need to install some bollards by the fuel tank. The fire marshal was just up there just a few weeks ago, asked that we install some bollards right by the fuel tank. So the rest are in town, which Lowry has 5, Bridgeport has 6, Grass Valley has 2, and Sonoma has 5. So the guys have been great. They've been working their butts off, getting other things accomplished as well. I think that last year I talked to Lisa Weber one time, and her and Saint Germain, and they told me that they didn't realize that I was working with 5 maintenance guys for 11 schools and 4 groundskeepers for 6 in-town schools and 2 rural schools. So they were actually pretty impressed with what our groundskeepers and our maintenance guys could do with as few maintenance guys I have, which I have no specialty guys. They're all the jack of all trades that have got their hands dirty in one way or another, like Cable. He's followed RHP around, learned from them, picked up pieces from Mike, and now this new guy. So it's been fun to watch these guys grow over the years. So they've been doing really well with all the high priority stuff, and then getting all the other stuff accomplished as well. So does anybody have any questions about the work order system?
Yeah, I do, Mike. I think my question last time you were here is follow-up. You know, when you receive the work order, the guys go out and do the work, and then I asked, is anybody checking on the work that they did to make sure it was done properly, or?
Yes.
Have you
And
been doing that?
Andy and I have been getting out and checking on things and looking at work orders, especially plumbing work orders, roof leaks, stuff like that. You know, major things that we really check on. As far as like pencil sharpeners and whiteboards and stuff like that, we normally don't go check on that. That's just or toilet paper dispenser fell off the wall. You know, I mean, that would take pretty much all of our time, as that's happening pretty much every week with kids tearing them off walls and stuff like that. So, but yes, we are getting out and we're checking them and looking at work orders before we close them, and then going in and resolving them and everything like that. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
On the plumbing things, have we had any more issues besides the junior high thing that we got cleared up?
No issues, none at all.
Just on my end.
Like something in your house.
Knock on wood, plumbing's been pretty good, other than your typical plug toilets. You know, we have at least 5 a week that somebody's throwing the vape down, so we have to pull the toilet and do everything. So it takes a little time sometimes. It's about a 4-hour project every time a kid decides to flush a vape down the toilet. But
did we figure out the high school with the trees? Were they by the cafeteria, those bathrooms? Are they good?
yeah, they're good.
Okay.
And I followed up with Mike after we've been requested that we have some kind of check on work orders, and that's built into the system. So like the ones he's going out in the field and checking, or has Andy do, it's built into the vision to be able to say.
Go back and look at that.
Yeah, so that was one of my follow-ups.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just like last week, I was gone for some health reasons, and the guys actually sent me photos of the work that they were doing, like when they had to pull toilets or they have plumbing issues or stuff like that. They send me photos of when it's completed and everything like that. So, yeah, it's yeah. So,
I just have one question. I was, have we moved forward at all with a potential, I guess, preventative maintenance audit or in I would say probably a biannual audit of each facility to see if there's, rather than waiting for problems to be called in, to have a literal inspection to go around like you guys, not someone to come in, but to take a look at all the
Like
The-
preventative
the
maintenance.
important stuff in the schools. A real thorough check on the HVAC system, a real thorough check on plumbing, on sewage, on all that kind of stuff. Lights, things of that nature where, it doesn't have to be everything in the school, but you know what I'm saying, the big stuff that we're actually putting our eyes on it, we're putting our eyes on the roof, we're noting the condition, we're noting any issues that are coming and potentially fixing things that could, that are starting to creep.
Yeah, absolutely. And like RHP, they come down, they maintenance all of our HVAC systems every, 2 times a year. So they go through them with fine tooth comb, and then I receive the invoice and the quotes if they need to repair anything and stuff like that. During that time, sometimes, little things go out, the switchboard goes out and niter goes out, something like that, and the cable runs up there and replaces it real quick. But most of the time, RHP does an amazing job of going through all of our units.
Yeah, and I get that. I think what I'm looking for is more something where if it's you go to a school, you do a walk around on it. You're looking at the foundation, you're looking at the cracks in the walls, you're looking at that kind of stuff, and just so that we can say something happens with the grammar school foundation or a wall that's cracked or any of that nature, we can look back. When was this looked at last?
Right.
The roof of someone walked on the roof of the high school and actually looked at the membrane or French board to see what shape it is. Is there any sign of puddling? Things of that nature. Where we're actually taking we're being proactive in having that audit. And I used to do it. It's kind of a different scenario, but I was a district manager for Starbucks, had 13 stores. And I would do a physical walk around. They didn't have to, but I did a physical walk around. I looked at all the pipes. I got up on the roof, checked all the filters, all that, every store that I had. I did that twice a year so I could maybe catch stuff before it happened. One, it kept operations up. We didn't have any downtime. Two, it was usually cheaper to fix it if we found it before it created a catastrophic issue. And I'm just wondering, can we create that plan for the district so we're actually doing that in each school? And it could be combined. Heck, you got to drive all the way out to Paradise to go fix something, then the inspection can happen at that time. It could be, we're going to spend the last week of the school year after everyone's out, go around and inspect the buildings and say, this is where we're at. I think we should do it earlier so we can plan stuff to fix. What I mean?
Yeah, and we do walkthroughs. Me and Andy will do walkthroughs a couple times a year, especially right before summertime. Around that February, March, we walk around the schools, we look at things, we look at the ground, we look at the inside, like what stuff needs to be fixed. This year's been a little bit different with moving, knowing that we're gonna tie up most of our time with moving and playground, building a playground, which is in here and stuff like that. But we do look at a lot of things, like as far as the roofing as well. Tim from Omnia, well, he's from Garland, but our Omnia partner, he went through and did an amazing makeup of like all of our roofs. Like what's the timeline of when should we replace McDermott's roof, that'll be in here too. When should we replace this area? And he breaks it down from now to 20 years of everything. And he takes pictures of everything. He breaks it all down. It's in our Garland report and everything like that. So we're going to snake the drains this coming summer as well with the video camera. We're going to start mapping things out on our map, kind of get a better idea. Most of us kind of know where all the plumbing goes, but we want to truly know where the Ys are, and all that kind of stuff. So that way we can kind of get an idea of what we're looking at as well. Because we know there's some issues at Lowry that's underneath all that concrete that,
Right.
Hopefully it doesn't anything happen in the future. So, so there is kind of a plan, but we're trying to just kind of secure things up a little bit better, make things a little bit more
I'd just like to see that as a goal down the road so that we actually have a physical document from maintenance on visual inspections a couple times a year so that we can go back to that and say, hey, what did this look like 6 months ago? What did this look like 3 months ago? I sent a draft over.
Yeah, I've shared it with them.
But something like that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, as a goal, like I said, that would be helpful it'd be really helpful for me if when stuff comes up to be able to say, hey, we looked at this last year and it's degraded this much or degraded this much since then. So
Yeah, I think to Lonnie's point, we just want to not obviously try to be in the predicament that we were in prior with having to close the school and the grammar school, and it obviously falls to us at the end of the day. And so I think that's where we were at with wanting like the list or like the check through at least a couple times a year.
Right.
So that we knew, or hey, we thought we were gonna be able to do this because there's a Revon project, but this ended up being what we really need to do, or say those pipes at Lowry, or you know what I mean? Like we have to shift things, and then that way we're not hopefully in the same predicament that we were in this year.
And Colby can share with you what I sent over. It's not long. It is not like this comprehensive, 40-page spreadsheet of everything in the school to check off. It's some really basic areas. And like I said, it's just something I threw together. So, I mean, if you think there's stuff that's more important, toss that in there, change it, whatever. And even if we have to come up with some, some funding for software or something to do that, I think it'd be really smart for us to track that stuff. I think it will be down the road give us an idea of what our contractors are doing to us, if they're doing good jobs or bad jobs. I think it'd be very helpful and give us a better idea of what we're up against, and we'll have that look. But I like the idea of it coming from us and not 40 different reports from RHP and from this vendor and from that vendor. I mean, they do a good job and all that. That's so much information where we can take a look at, 30, 40, points that takes about a half an hour to walk around the school and see them all, check them off. This looks bad, this looks good. And then we have an idea of stuff that we can look at for improvements and maybe even for budgeting for us to figure out if we're gonna have to start thinking about this.
Absolutely.
Okay, any more questions on the work orders part?
Okay, so the last few weeks, I wanted to celebrate some wins with the guys. Prince Ford got 3 brand new HVAC units that were installed during spring break. Wes, Alex, Gabby, Jose, Mitch, and Cable were the guys that got the units up on the roof with the help of MAGA trucking. It was a smooth process. Those guys are stand-up, man. MAGA and those guys and my guys did a great job. No incidences, it went smooth. I mean, but it took longer to set the crane up than it was to pick the 3 units and 3 units on. So it was really nice. So between Cable and Mitch, they stayed out there in the rainstorm. They got the units all hooked up, got them up and fired. They were pretty much done, and everything was working within 8 hours. And that's running new thermostat wires and all that kind of stuff. So they did an incredible job doing that. Unfortunately, though, like always, next week we lost a compressor on one of the other units that's only a couple years old. So the good with the bad, right? Get 3 new ones, lose 1. So, but we did get the unit. We did got the compressor ordered. RHP will install it because of the all the chemicals and stuff that they have to use. So we also got a new wall pack unit installed in a portable at Lowry. That one was a little process. It took about 16 weeks to get that unit here. So teacher was a little upset for a little bit, but it's like my hands are tied. I can't do anything until I get the unit here. And once it arrived, showed up Wednesday at 3 and they or Tuesday at 3 and they installed it by Wednesday and it was up and running before noon. So
Was that Scott's?
yes.
Okay. That's the oldest portable there.
Yeah. Also, Paradise Roof got a complete brand new roof. I don't know if anybody's been by it to see it. It's brand new. They tore off the old stuff, put a brand new roof on there. It was completed, inspected by Tim from Garland. He walked through it. He actually is the main rep for Garland. He's like the owner rep. So he goes through, does the full first inspection. He looks at it, and if there's any defects or anything like that, he marks it all up, makes the contractors fix it. He comes back, he inspects it, and then the building inspector also came out, inspected, and signed off on it. So they're good to go. That thing's gonna outlast all of us pretty much in here, so that'll be nice too. We also got a couple swing sets installed, one at Sonoma, one big one at Grass Valley during the break. Swapped over a couple classrooms at LEDs as well. And there was also a good amount of work done to the football field. We had to replace a bunch of sprinkler heads, some valves, everything like that. Get ready for the upcoming track meet, which was a huge success to have back in Winnemucca finally. Got some positive feedback on it, got a lot of text messages, a couple phone calls about the track and how well it looked and stuff like that. So that was nice to see that back in Winnemucca. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Please for all of us, thank all your guys over there. We appreciate them a lot. We know they do a good job and we have a lot of faith in them, so.
I definitely will. So the projects and stuff that are going on right now, and then summer projects. So we have the boiler inspectors coming tomorrow. They'll be doing Lowry High School, Grammar, Sonoma, and Junior High, going through, making sure everything's up and running and good for insurance reasons. We have CTR roofing at Lowry right now. They're at the CTE building, the English area, and then also by the kitchen area, taking care of some issues that we've had over there until we can actually get a bigger project taken care of over there. Row painting will be here Monday, the 4th. They're gonna start on the district steps. They're gonna grind everything off, get it back down to normal, and then go through and put a whole new coat and actually a professional coat on it. That was a great learning experience for me, you know, about having to take the lowest bid instead of taking the right contractor, you know, that's when I learned, and I had a great conversation with Dave about that, like, is there a way we can skip the lowest bid sometimes and go with actually who needs to be taken? And that's when we kind of made that decision too. I mean, we saw it at the grammar school with the concrete as well, so that would be nice when that gets completed. So hopefully, probably not by the next board meeting, but the following board meeting probably will be done. So we also just did a job walk last week. 3 roofing jobs, one for Lowry, one for McDermott, and one for French Ford. Cable actually did the walks, as I mentioned. I was out almost all last week with some health issues and stuff. So he did the job walks with me, but he kept in contact with me. We had 4 roofing contractors show up for the job walks. French Ford we're looking at doing the gym roof, where we've had some issues for the last couple of years. We kind of fixed it, then reared its head somewhere else, and we did a little bit, and now it's like, you know what, it's just time for a new roof, you know. And then McDermott, it's a locker room around to the main office area down by the gym area. That whole area is going to be redone. And then Lowry is the other half of the HVAC project. So we did the one half last year. Now we're looking at doing the rubber coating for the second half of it. So we did that job walk. We'll get the bids on Monday the 4th. We'll open those up, and then I hope to talk with Colby and Dustin and Mike, and we'll look at the pricing and then bring it to you guys for approval. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be pretty pricey for McDermott, just because, well, both McDermott and French Ford, just because now a lot of these roofing contractors don't wanna touch roofs that only go up a portion of the parapet. So if they have like a trim around it, they don't even wanna do the rubber coating or anything like that anymore. It's a complete tear off and redo. That way they can go up and wrap, and then everything's sealed in, and it's very unlikely to leak. So again, if you go out and look at Paradise, it all comes up and wraps over the top, and it's actually really nice how they do it. So so I hope to bring that to you, the next board meeting, I hope to, for your guys' approval, hopefully. So the summertime, we got a lot of classrooms to move, as you know. And then we have to create some playground areas out at French Ford. So we've already got artistic fencing on the schedule. We did talk to Chelsea about that today, about kind of possibly moving up the fencing instead of waiting until June. Can we move it up till May so that way we can start on some of that project early, because I just lost one of my main guys until August for some health issues as well. So that puts me down to 4 maintenance guys for the summer, with me and Andy included. So yeah, so hopefully that'll work. She was super cool with it. She was like, I kind of wish we could wait till June, but you know, I understand like moving it up, and we're gonna have to learn how to do Survivor with the fence anyways for the following year. So if we have to do it this year, we have to do it this year. So, because I mean, that's a big project. I mean, we're still waiting to hear, like I talked to Dustin today about the PTO at Sonoma and grammar school, whether we're gonna be able to get that playground equipment from Grammar to French Ford, or if we're gonna have to order new, which if you order new, you're looking at 6 to 8 weeks for new playground equipment. So we're looking at that. But the nice thing is it really, after looking at the field, we really only have to eliminate like 4 sprinklers, and then we can adjust all the other ones to make it work, so. Then there's some areas on the football field that Sean Taylor and those guys were kind of concerned of. We're gonna get some topsoil up there, start leveling off some areas. There's a big hump over on the left end of the end zone. We're gonna level that off, and then there's some dips and stuff like that, just kind of make a little bit more safer playing field for the football team this year. A little nicer too.
Spot where it just drops.
Yeah, it's where the old long jump pit was. So,
Mike, can I ask you a question?
yes, ma'am.
How often have you sanded that field?
The football field hasn't been sanded in a few years. It's probably been, I'd probably say 7 years. Yeah, I mean, it gets punched, it gets fertilized, it gets a little topsoil and stuff pretty much every year, but mainly it's just seeded and kind of redone every year. But as far as seeding or sanding, we really never had the budget to really go through it. By the time we get to April with fertilizer and sprays and all that, we pretty much deplete our grounds budget almost 100%. So that is something that we've looked at, but even trying to get a company in to do it, they're pretty pricey to come in and lay that sand down and level it and all that kind of stuff. So
How many hours can you get out of the field in a week, do you know?
like playing, like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, they used to play on it a lot. I mean, now they really practice on it. Thursday nights? They do their night practice on Thursdays. They play on Fridays, and then you got your youth football that plays there all day Saturday most of the time. So, I mean, you're probably looking at on an average probably 16 hours they play on it.
Yeah, for me,
I was just gonna say, Sean talked to me about turning the youth away just because of that overuse. It's becoming a problem.
Yeah.
So,
in my former life, I was over fields, over quite a few of them, we had fields that could take 12 hours and fields that could take 35 hours.
Right.
But we had to sand them, we sanded those fields once a year just to keep that up.
Right.
So I just understand how important that is, that those
Yeah.
fields are sanded.
Yeah, and we've looked into equipment that you can either hook up to your tractor and load it up with sand or anything like that. And I mean, you're looking at $50,000 to $100,000 for the proper material or the proper equipment to do that.
Yeah,
Because you just don't want to just dump it everywhere, because then it just makes a mess and it's harder. So you look for nice spreaders and stuff like that can do it. And I mean, everything is worth the price of gold right now. So
yeah. So I know what happens is there's gravel, usually gravel, rock, sometimes even garbage under those fields that we don't even know about, and that sand just keeps going down.
Right.
It just keeps going down, every rainstorm more and more, and so.
Yeah.
If we could kind of keep that on our radar.
Yeah, and it's something that me and Andy have talked about, trying to like, I'd say hoard some money and then try to get it done like after the football season, try and see where we're at. We know we gotta save at least $40,000 to almost $50,000 worth of money just for fertilizer and that. So, so yeah, I mean, that's something that me and Andy have talked about. And we've talked to Matt, who's up there now, and that about how we can possibly find something that we can do this with.
Have we ever looked at, and you're gonna think I'm out of my mind, but have you ever looked at the cost effectiveness of turf?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We have quotes all over the place about turf.
Yeah, because we found that when we turfed our fields, we saved a ton of money.
Oh, you will.
Less
I mean,
maintenance money.
less water, less maintenance, no pain. I mean, it
The
would free
turf
up,
paid for itself in 5 years.
yeah, it'd free up my groundskeeper at least 3 days a week.
Mhm.
At least 24 hours, as much time as he spends on that football field during the week, painting the lines and mowing it, striping it and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, especially on that football field, yeah.
yeah, it's a little over $2 million. We got 3 quotes from 3 different outfits. I mean, I did it at the same time that we did the track.
Yeah. And usually there's about an 8 to 10 year guarantee on those
Yeah.
turf fertile fields, so.
Yeah, most of the companies want to go like 7 to 8. If you can find one with 10, that's pretty good. But yeah, we reached out to Pershing County. We talked to them. I talked to the guys from Fernley and stuff like that about their turf and everything like that. And they led me on to some guys. And that's what led me on to the track guys as well. So, And then just rest of it is pretty much just, I'm waiting to hear back from some quotes to upgrade the bathrooms by the gym at Lowry. Just kind of getting those back up into the new age, some new sinks, some new faucets, some new toilets, maybe some new partitions, kind of just get those uplifted a little bit. I mean, the community sees, I like to try and keep areas that the community sees a lot, kind of updated, and those kind of take a beating sometimes. You know, between volleyball and basketball and stuff like that, they kind of take a beating over on that area. So we're waiting on quotes on that. And then, like I said, just the scheduling for like fire extinguishers, fire alarms, you know, all of our normal summer things is in the works right now, getting all those guys on the schedule and all that kind of stuff. So that's my report for tonight. Any more questions?
I just have a couple.
Yeah.
Boiler at the grammar school, we still have to have that checked, even though it's
in the new building, so
Oh, okay.
we want to make sure insurance reasons why we keep it up and going. And I mean, it's not running,
Yeah,
but we just got to make sure that, you know, we got to go over and fire it back up, and then the insurance guy will approve everything, and then we can shut it back down. So.
And then my other question, and this might be more of a Colby question, what's gonna happen to that playground equipment if they say we're not gonna give it to you to use?
Which, the one that the PTO?
Yeah.
I would assume it would sit there until we open grammar back up or renovate grammar. So, I actually have a meeting with the grammar PTO president tomorrow.
Okay.
And then, so that might provide some more clarity on that, but, yeah, I would assume it would just sit there until grammar's reopened.
Okay.
So.
Ron?
I just had, is anything for denial popped up on your radar? And had a chance to go out there and check it?
We are going to be going back out there now that the last board meeting, we heard that it's going to be opening back up, which is cool. So, we'll be going back out there and, getting things taken care of out there.
Because Dustin stole some stuff from it, so.
Yeah, well,
I know you're gonna take it back now.
yeah, well, I stole some stuff too.
Yeah.
We moved Grass Valley all out, or grammar all out the Grass Valley. We stole the ramp to the portable, so that way we can get rid of the old rusted one that wasn't in use. So I'll be new one's on order. New one's on order, so.
That's what I'm gonna say.
Yes, ma'am.
Just one other thing, we put like about a $35,000, $40,000 cistern in that field back of the high school. How's the drainage with that? No problems, we're not,
Doesn't seem like we've had any.
no soil
issues.
erosion back there, that big ditch that was back there,
No.
that's taken care of now.
No, if you drive back there, you can still see where the grass is different colored, so you know exactly where it's at. So,
Okay.
no, it seems like everything's going pretty smooth with it, so. Yeah, that's a big project.
Mhm.
Does anybody have any further questions or comments?
Thanks, Mike.
Seeing none, thank you, Mike.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you coming in.
Moving on to item 3, presentation of the final district portrait of a learner and next steps for implementation at the student level.
All right, so I'll go through this with everybody. Obviously, Board Docs has been down, so I hadn't had the opportunity to post it till today, but some of you had the opportunity to look through this, I hope, as I emailed it out to you today. But I just wanted to start, I think the Skills USA is a perfect example of what we're trying to really accomplish when we think about this work, right? Is just those different opportunities for all students in our district. You know, not everybody's going to go to a 4-year college and major in, you know, accounting or something like that. There's different paths for every student, and that should be celebrated. And I know that's a goal of this board. I know that's a goal of our teaching staff and really everybody in this community, is just to highlight those different career pathways and student competency pathways that are available in this town. So just to start off, I thought it'd be great if, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but I'd love it if the board could talk about real quick a skill that they developed as a child or even as a young person. The one I was thinking about was a young adult, not a child, but something that you guys still use today that doesn't apply to learning you learned in school. I think would be a good way to consider that. And the one thing I was thinking about for me was the ability to pivot and be creative. If this year showed nothing else, so we've had to pivot on the fly, and I've had to make a lot of things up on the fly, you know. And I didn't learn that sitting in a classroom, right? That I can remember, but it's certainly an adult skill that served me well. So I didn't know if the board had any that they wanted to talk about real quick, and if not, we certainly can move along. But just something.
Share something, my brother and I spent all of our weekends and summers out at the ranch in Paradise, and You know, when my dad or my uncle needed a tool, we didn't walk, we ran. Because we were expected to. And I think that's a skill that I learned, just to work hard and to be ready all the time and to put everything you have into everything. And if I was told to take a wagon out and pick up broken bales, Ron, you've been there.
I still am.
I was so proud of myself. Yeah, you're on that ranch right now. I was just so proud of myself, all by myself. I would do it when I was maybe 10, 12 years old. So, I mean, those are skills that I think with this, your plan, we can start to develop that kind of stuff. Work ethic, I mean, being proud of the things that you've accomplished. Yeah.
Yeah, no textbook prepared me to move a school from one place to another.
No.
In a matter of 2 weeks or a week and a half. So yeah, it's those really those underdeveloped, unrefined skills that we don't have in the classroom right now, or we have it, but we don't accentuate it, I guess would be the right word for that. So, so going back here, so this is ultimately the goal of this project. Right now, we're just here. What knowledge, skills, let me get this out of the way, sorry. What knowledge, skills, and dispositions do our students need? And I'll go into what those are defined as in a moment. We did that this year. This was done with the voice of teachers, community, students. It's that exciting process. Lori, you sat in on that. So it's what we've developed over the course of this year. It's that definition of what we want to accomplish as a district. Moving forward over the next year and a half, this is where we start getting to what experiences the students need and what conditions, instructional designs, and teaching practices do we need to develop in our classrooms to make sure that our students have the knowledge, skills, and dispositions to move forward. And then long term, it's about engagement, right? Engaging stakeholders, engaging everybody in the process. Maybe. Oh, we've got a lot of arrows coming on here. So, learner-centered approach is really a change in, I think I've said it before, but it's that coffin teaching, right? Everybody's in columns and rows and you sit there quietly. A learner-centered approach means classrooms are noisy, classrooms are engaged. The students are at the center of what they want to learn and how they want to learn it and what they want to do to show how they've learned. And it really becomes different for the teachers because they're now a guide. They're a support piece in that classroom, right? It's a big shift. It goes from the teachers being the sole purveyor of education going to students to staff members being able to just help and support and guide to where students want to go. The other thing is being future ready. And we've talked about this, and I have a few slides that we'll review in a moment, but just aligning our learning with what the world's requiring right now. This world changes pretty rapidly every day. AI, quantum computing, all those things that we have that are just dramatically changing our world. I don't remember the last time I wrote a letter because I just throw it into AI at this point and have it do it for me, So just different experiences for our students. Just a quick reminder, and I know the board's seen this, just in case the community hasn't. Again, this is just about where you were born. This is the timeline of where you fall. If you were born, like me in 1977, none of this existed. If you were born between these ages, Google, Bluetooth, some of these things were just coming out. Our middle school students have never known a world without, I don't even know what some of these symbols are, I'm not gonna lie, but Snapchat, right? Instagram. And our students entering school now will never know a world where AI doesn't rule their lives.
This slide makes me feel old.
It makes me feel old every time, yeah. I mean, I didn't have a
I teach
computer.
77 when he was born. I've been teaching school for 4 years by then.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have a computer until my junior year in college. I wrote every paper on a typewriter by hand, so it's pretty alarming, right? Again, demands across the jobs. These are the jobs that are declining in our world right here. And these are our fastest growing jobs. Everything appears to be in tech, AI, autonomous vehicles and driving, data analysis, right? These are the jobs that our students are being shoveled toward. And again, just a quick review. Again, I know you've seen this, but these are the skills that employers in the World Economic Forum were asking for from students. And if you notice, reading, writing, and arithmetic are way down the list. They're 21st. Everything's about those competencies and other skills that students need. You've seen this video. What I did, and I don't want to show it because it's about 7 minutes long, but if you click in here later, This is actually the future of work in our community. This shows the change at Nevada Gold Mines and how they've gone into the workforce and they're adapting their workforce. It shows the autonomous vehicles that are driven around the mine sites at this point without a driver, which really freaks me out. The AI that they're using to drill. So they may not need drillers much longer. I'm sure they will, but they have drills that can do their own work based on programming and coding. And so kind of an interesting video to watch, but it changes, it should change how we want to look at educating our students if we don't need drillers and haul truck drivers anymore in our community, right? So I would encourage everybody to go back and take a quick look at that video. It's pretty cool to see. So again, as a board, what trends do you see in the horizon in our community or across our state that young people will need to thrive? Does anybody want to have questions or answers before I move on, or anything they want to talk about as far as what our young children need?
Well, I think we've talked about it a lot, and I saw it as number one thing was basically critical thinking and having kids be able to do that. Critical thinking and basic life skills. We used to have home ec when I was in school, auto shop. We had all sorts of different classes, typing, whatever, the stuff that I literally do that stuff every day, every single day. And I don't see as much of that anymore. We're starting to get back to it a little bit with some of these other programs, but those critical thinking skills and having kids, not just having kids college ready when they leave, but having kids life ready so they can walk out and rent an apartment and know what to do.
Yeah, that's it, like life skills,
Yeah.
like a life skills crash course, because a lot of these kids, they're getting things, but then you're like, wait, you don't know how to do that?
Yeah.
But if we're not teaching them, at home, a lot of the time, some of those things, they're not getting it.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a big miss. I mean, this is a true story. I have a buddy who's 30 years or 26 years in the Navy. He got out of the Navy. He called me and he was asking me how you do insurance and phones and things like, because he lived on base. He was deployed 14 times. I mean, my wife did that, or my girlfriend did that, or whatever. I didn't do any of that kind of stuff. The guy was 50 years old and didn't know how to set accounts up, because he never had to. Yeah. And that's something that it gets missed by a lot of folks. And, there's no reason why we can't do that in school, so I mean.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff.
See, and I like so much the partnership with the mines and what other industries we have around, Carwell or whatever. Because that's where our kids are gonna gravitate. That's where they're going. And I just hope that we can increase those partnerships and develop those partnerships to where, man, when our kids graduate, they're ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. I mean, it's a path for a lot of kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I would also note the hospital, and they were really instrumental in supporting with this, and they've been instrumental in providing our kids with a lot of internships, which is pretty cool. We have several kids that intern at HGH right now as part of their high school careers. So yeah, a lot of partnerships our community has to offer.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you. So really our learner profile, again, competencies are just the application of knowledge, skills, and dispositions. So when we talk knowledge, we're talking about just the understanding, getting to know a math fact, knowing how to write an essay, understanding how a noun and verb agree. Skills are actually how you apply that. And then dispositions are the attitudes and the way you feel about learning and the way you feel about school. So being open-minded, being persistent are examples of that. Being able to pivot and being creative, right? All those little things some of you spoke about earlier. So those are the dispositions we want to carry for students. The relationships between standards and competency, again, we have defined standards. So I want to be pretty honest about this. We're not changing our curriculum. We're not changing what the state tells us to teach. What we do is just apply it differently, right? Use those competencies to measure a standard or to apply our learning of a standard. So can you analyze, execute, and evaluate rather than just regurgitate, when it comes to this. So it's a different model, but not a different curriculum, not a different set of standards for our educators. So here's the work of the learner profile team. And I can read it to you. And so we settled on 6 competencies that I've shared with you guys before, but critical thinking, to Lonnie's point, one of the most important ones. And that was one of the ones Dustin was on the team. I don't think we ever argued about that one. So there was a couple more we did, but being a responsible citizen in the community, being a self-directed learner, being a collaborator, another highly important one, I believe, in this world, and then being a continuous learner. And there was some debate around combining self-directed learner and continuous learner, but we really wanted to separate them out because to us, the continuous learner would be more that academic piece, right? I mean, you still need to learn how to read, write, create an essay, create, solve math problems. So we wanted to keep those two separated. But critical thinking, and I'll just touch on the definitions real quick. The ability to analyze problems, take risks, create innovative solutions, and make informed decisions and learn from the results. A responsible citizens, considerate, respectful of others, making ethical decisions, choosing actions that support their own well-being and others in the community. Self-directed learners take ownership of their learning by identifying their learning needs, setting goals, using resources, applying their knowledge, and reflecting their progress. Collaborators work effectively and respectfully with others across environments to achieve common goals, use clear communication to share ideas, give feedback, and create an inclusive environment where everyone is heard and valued. And then continuous learners seek and apply knowledge of core concepts and foundational skills over a lifetime and use that knowledge to adapt across time and environment. I'll note that creating the 6 competencies was the easy work. We argued about the definitions for days on end. So we wanted to really value all the voices that were in that room. Because I mean, when we started this, we had 50 competencies listed from the community, from teachers. And so we narrowed everything down, but we also wanted to, again, honor that work. So we included a lot of what the group wanted in these definitions. So I think that's what was the longest part of that, but it took a lot of meetings to get to this point for us. And so I'd love to hear what everybody thinks or what everybody's thoughts are around this. Did we pick the right 6? Did the definitions match what you're thinking as far as what our students need? And I'd just love to get some feedback on that real quick.
I like critical thinking. I think that a lot of people don't realize that when you're questioning things or asking questions and being direct, that's part of being a critical thinker. And I think we need to teach our kids that more because a lot of times they sit in a room and we don't allow them to ask the questions or push back a little bit. And I know it's more so at the high school that doesn't happen as much, but there are a lot of collaborations in a lot of those classes, especially like the English classrooms. And I think that kids should be allowed to do that at any age. And I think that that's a huge skill that you're going to need for the rest of your life.
Yeah, for sure.
I like the self-directed learner one too.
Yeah.
I think every kid's gonna be at a different level. And when they can take ownership of identifying their own learning needs and setting goals and we can give them affirmation around that, I think that that's important.
Yeah, that was a big one for the community, our community partners, honestly, Jenna, was they want employees that can be self-driven, right? And they don't have to hold their hands all the time. And so that was really echoed by especially the gold mine partners or the mining partners on the committee. So
Yeah, because if they know how to take the ownership, then
Yeah.
they're gonna move forward.
And reflecting on their progress so they know,
That's
we are giving a review or. I
And
like
maybe you're not like, I'm not on the same progress as Jenna, but that's okay. I'm gonna get there just a different way, in a different skill wise. Lori?
I think this has to do with teaching too, is that our students come to class prepared to learn.
Mhm.
They've already read the material. That we're not reading the material in class and then going over it and then at the end of the class or whatever. That they are, and it's the responsible or the self-directed learner and continuous learner. They're learning outside of the classroom and bringing that with them so that they're ready to learn even more. The teacher can add on to that. That makes sense.
yeah, our students definitely need to be held accountable for a different level of learning, I would say, in this model also.
Yeah, so when my students come into the class, I say, any questions, and they better have some. Because they've been studying and they have questions.
And you should be able to talk about it and
Right.
answer the questions, and maybe one student didn't get out of that whatever, or they're behind, but they're gonna learn from that other student who's a little bit higher, and you're not having to reteach, and we're not just teaching to the lower kids. Everyone's collaborating and everyone's there.
And that's most of your class.
Mhm.
It's the questions and answers, because, you know, from the questions come answers that are far beyond what the question was, you know, and yeah, it just
Yeah.
moves everything forward.
My daughter, one of her classes last year was that flipped classroom philosophy. So the teacher, their homework was the video, or to watch the video lesson. And then when they came in the next day, it was all work with the teacher, work on your problems. It was a cool model, right? So yeah, you had to be prepared for that.
And that's exactly what
Yeah.
I'm talking about there, yeah.
So it's pretty neat.
Any other questions or comments?
And then one other thing I just want to, back to page. So again, profile's done. We're going to start rolling this out to teaching staff at the school sites, and then we'll go into the design work next fall, like I noted from that previous slide. And then finally, again, another video I'm not going to play, but if it's hard for you to realize what this would look like in a school, I would suggest you watch this video. It's from Keene Middle School back in Portland, Maine. And in this particular video, they've taken a unit on renewable energy and tied it in with reading, math. Literally the entire school devotes its week to this giant project around renewable energy. So the books they're reading are about the boy who harnessed the wind. And the math is all around like building the propulsion for the fans that they're building. So
Is this embedded in what you sent us?
yeah, it's embedded. Oh, it may not, it's on the board docs now though.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just
so-
don't know, but I'm sure I can.
Yeah, I think it started working around like 10 today.
pulled
I gotta do it before I came, it's fixed now.
But yeah, I would check this video because it's kind of pretty cool to see the engagement that's there, and then like the kids having that ability to create what they wanted to learn and create their own project for this. So, and it's like 6-7 minutes. But.
So when it comes to where you said the fall, you're gonna start like collaborating or doing whatever. And I just know from like sitting in presentations years before at the National School Board Conference, there's a lot of these things that have been going on for a long time. But it takes the PD and it takes the time for the whole school to collaborate, or it takes that grade level. So I see the deeper design work coming in maybe with the teachers as far as like when they're doing those things, right? When they're doing their PD, when they're in those moments where something like that could happen school-wide, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Oh, there's going to be a lot of work around it, you know. Yeah, there's a lot of work, and we're lucky. Most of the teachers that were on the committee want to continue and help us with the design work, which is cool. And we'll also have to reach out to multiple others. You know, it's not going to be a small task for sure.
No, it's going to be a huge one.
Yeah.
And some people aren't going to want to maybe do it, but you know, there's going to be pushback, but hopefully everyone can collaborate together and make it so it's for the kids. And
I'm excited to see this focus take place.
Well, I think some teachers are already doing it to a point.
Oh yeah.
I was
oh yeah,
working with Lacey out in Kings River, and as part of her STEM, she was doing ag in the classroom, and her students were looking up different pieces of haying equipment. And they had got a little time on the computer to look it up, and then they had to, as part of their homework, go interview a farmer, and then bring those questions and all that back into the class, and then do a presentation on it. And so it made them, one, get involved with the computer, look some stuff up, go out in the field, talk to somebody, questions, answers, come back, present, and then the kids would, talk back and forth about all of that. In fact, as part of my project to earn this, I got with her and added to her ag in the classroom, and I got all 1/64th scale model tractors, balers, swathers, rakes, everything. I partnered with Carter Ag and got a circle pivot and fake grass, all that, so that the kids could build a model of a working hay farm, and animals and feed bunks and all this. And Lacey took it to a whole other level, and she's making the kids do the math for how much water the pivot's gonna need, and the acres and everything. So it's super involved, but she's doing a very, very close version of what you just had right here already.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think a lot of people, you don't have books anymore in school, or you don't have this, but it's because they're learning through different avenues. And teachers don't want probably a textbook to be like, okay, let's read out of page 12 all the time. Like, that's not good for them either.
Let's be real, what do we do with our textbooks?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just not the reality, and it's teaching them other skills.
Yeah. Yeah, I think all our teaching have pockets of it, every
Yeah.
classroom in this district, you know, to Ron's point. It's just allowing them the freedom to expand it even more and grow and explore really and make mistakes and not be afraid of failure.
And it brings that kid involvement right in, because that kid got to pick, like, I want to learn about this, and I'm gonna go ask this guy, and now they're excited to do it. And then everything that comes along with it. So,
Taking the ownership.
Yeah, I think everybody in this room is taught. At some point, we've taught something. Who learns the most, the teacher or the student? The teacher.
The teacher.
You know, and so we have to have our students teaching. Not just learning, but teaching each other, you know, whatever. And I think it's an imperative that we start doing those kind of things, yeah. And that's what happened with those kids, Ron. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
even as an adult, you're not doing your job. You can have someone show you how to do it, but once you're doing it, that's where you're gonna do the most learning.
And then if you show somebody else, that is cemented in your brain. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%.
Any further questions or comments?
Great work, that's great.
Okay, moving on to item 4, discussion and updates on Winnemucca Grammar School renovation.
Okay, I have 3 updates for everybody this evening, and I'll take questions or just direction on what more information you wanted. So update number 1, excuse me, we should be receiving some testing shortly on the mortar strength. I know they're gonna go in there. I think they're worried about asbestos, which boggles my mind a little bit in an open air setting, but whatever. But they are gonna test and make sure and check the mortar strength and just see what it's like and how much of that we need to replace as we move forward. I reached out to McElhaney just to clarify timelines. I know that was a question that came from the board. So once this mortar testing comes back and they know how much of that they have to replace, we're looking at 1 month to month and a half to get 50% drawings back, excuse me. And then after that, another month and a half to 2 months to get 100% drawings back to go out. So all told, and my understanding is material testing is happening pretty shortly. And I know the company that did the foundation for us was pretty quick getting up here. So I'm thinking we're still looking anywhere from 3 to, I guess, 3 to 4 months out before we have those drawings, total drawings. So as far as the architects, right after the next day, John had got a call back. So I don't know if Lonnie got work magic for us or not, but from a
I did a couple of calls.
Yeah, from a Miss Godecker, I hope I said that right, at the Historical Preservation Society. And one of the things the architects were waiting on, and this will lead into my next information, but if we were going to use district or bond money, we did not have to go through the Historical Preservation Society on the renovation. If we were to use any type of grant money whatsoever, the Historical Preservation Society has to get involved. So I know that had been a question at some point throughout this process. So it really depends on the funding mechanism. Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Can we do it in stages?
We'll have to work with them.
Yeah,
Potentially, yeah, potentially. But I think the architects would probably want to draw out the 100% drawings, and that's where I was getting with this. I think their cost proposal to us to do the architectural piece of this is going to depend on how much interaction they have to have with the Historical Preservation Society. So on my third piece, and so I'll just share my third piece. I was able to share this with Lonnie last night, but we were selected by Amity as part of the FY27 community project. That's great news. It's not all the way complete yet though. So what that means, and now, and then I'm gonna have to read off this, so I apologize, but the HUD bill, so it's part of the HUD bill, it gets released next month at the Senate and House level. We have to go back and ensure that we're confirmed and that we are in that bill. Past that, then the House and Senate both have to vote and approve the HUD bill moving forward. I did look back today and I just did a quick research on it. I didn't spend a ton of time, but it looks like generally that's a bill that gets approved. There's certainly some funds they argue over. Doesn't look like this would be a piece of something.
I looked at it too, and
Yeah.
I didn't see any, because I looked at that as probably our biggest stumbling block, and I didn't see any indications that something like this would get held up.
No, I didn't think so either. It didn't sound like it. So after that, the federal timelines don't start till October 1st. Their fiscal year, it doesn't run like ours does at the state. So we would get approval of that October 1st, and then it usually takes HUD 3 to 4 more months to release funding to us.
What
So
was that amount?
$3.5 million.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah. So $3.5 million.
I can't
So
remember if it was
But then
3 or 3
would with that money have to go through the Historical Society, correct?
Yeah. we would, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. We're gonna, Most likely, we're gonna have to use a combination of both.
I
It's
think
just,
there's certain
yeah,
aspects that you have to do, and the
Yeah.
thing with the architects have done it before. The last thing that went through the historical society was through these architects.
Mhm.
So they're aware of the process and everything. It's just a big report. It's a huge report, and I think we want to submit it to the historical site. What they told me specifically, they would like us to submit it to them either way we go.
Yeah.
Because they'd like to have history of it, which I think is good for us to have those plans and everything with the historical society in case they get lost in the future.
yeah, and we'll most likely, if this Amadee money comes out like we think it's going to, we're going to need to submit it no matter what. So it was good. It was made me sleep a little better. I was kind of excited to hear that, and I've been worried about the fiscal piece of this, and so to have that extra is going to be really important.
As a relief, yeah.
Yeah, it's
When
really.
will we know from Rosen or Master's office?
We were a few months out on that. My guess, my hunch, and I talked to Brooke about that today, I don't think those would be approved. It sounds like, because it's all part of the same appropriations bill, so you're probably gonna get one or the other.
We're gonna get one or the other.
Yeah, most likely, but, right now, that covers the low end of McElhaney's
Yeah.
estimate for us, so that's pretty powerful that we potentially have that money in waiting, so.
Yeah.
And then we still have bond money to dedicate to other projects if we had to.
And now, is this one of those grants, because I do know, our GID recently ran into this, is this one of those grants where we can't get any other type of federal grants, or are we allowed to get other federal grants?
Yeah, we can get more. We can get more. And actually, Brooke and I have talked, Brooke's identified a ton of grants to get. They're all little tiny pocketed, 50,000 here, 50,000 here. But no, we would still be eligible for
Because
it.
I just wanted to make sure, because there are some federal grants out there that prohibit you
Oh.
from being
Yeah.
able to apply for any other federal
Yeah.
grants, so.
And I don't even know if I'm using the right word with grants. This is like an appropriated
Yeah,
money.
this is,
that-
I think it's totally different. It doesn't fall into the same guidelines as a grant does. This is an appropriation directly
Yeah.
from the state legislature.
But I do know this was one of the specific ones that ran into a different one that we were looking up there, so just that
Yeah,
was what
because
we
it's in the
needed.
HUD bill, so.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's still federal money.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. Any
So-
other questions?
No, I was just gonna ask for any questions, comments, or anything you need me to research prior to bringing this back to the board in the future.
I think the only thing I would ask is just keep on McElhaney, please. I mean, I don't want to browbeat those guys or anything, but at the same time, I do want to have constant communication with those guys.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I should have a more clear directive from H&K now that we know that we have to work with the Historical Prevention Society, so.
I do have one more question.
Yeah.
Last time we talked about the liability and did we get all of that put up?
Yeah, signs are up. We haven't done anything as far as putting up a fence or anything, but the signs are up on the
Okay.
doors, so, yeah.
Are we gonna move forward to do something around that one corner?
Yeah, for sure. And then we need to do, I think at the minimum, just tie something across the fence
Yeah,
out front,
just-
the railing. Yeah,
yeah,
just like
Just
a
'cause
line,
it's
just
that
do not
one,
cross or
yeah.
something, yeah. But yeah, that back corner definitely needs something around it.
Yeah.
But no one should be going in that back corner either,
Yeah.
but we'll still put up some protective
Yeah.
stuff. So, but signs are up on the doors. so
Yeah, I
we
think
have to
this
contact
summer-
like that.
I did also notice, like just general trash and stuff like, I mean, there's
Yeah.
no one there cleaning it up at least not often. I get why we don't have someone there.
And stuff.
But maybe having someone check that out. I mean, we don't want everything to deteriorate and create more problems. It's not necessarily an issue of what it looks like. It's more of an issue of let's not let, the place go to pot while it's sitting.
Yeah, the custodian went over there during spring break and cleaned like the kitchen area and worked on the gym and did some work over there. So, but I did notice that the other day, the outside was probably washed out for sure.
Well, I think we've had a lot of wind and then.
Yeah, it's been pretty rough.
We've had a lot of the fascia fall off, the white, that, like, I didn't know if fascia's the right word, but that white layer, there's a big chunk that's laying in the front on the top of the roof. So some of that stuff needs cleaned up. And
Do we have cameras on the outside of the building?
yes, we do. Yeah, and they're still active.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's why I just wanted to make sure too, because I know sometimes in the past, like, I've seen kids out there in the playground at night
Oh,
with
yeah.
flashlights, they climb, like,
Oh.
so.
That
I
happens
just
quite
want
a
to make
bit.
sure that we have cameras.
Those were my kids at one point.
Yeah.
But that's where with the liability issue, I just want to
Yeah.
make sure we have cameras.
Well, the ghost, right? The ghost
Yeah.
might be-
Right.
Don't want a ghost to get in.
Okay,
I mean, that's a great place to play kick can in the summer,
Yeah.
so.
Any other
Well, we
questions?
used to leave the schools unlocked for kids.
They were wide open when I was a
Yeah.
kid. Yeah, and mostly I think up
Which is
until
how they.
my nieces went to school and that's when they fenced it all off, but they were wide open. We used to drive our go-karts on the playground in the back on that that weird gravel that if you did slide on it, it took every ounce of skin off skin.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none. Moving on to item 5, update on current teacher vacancies remaining unfilled for the 26-27 school year as of April 28th, 2026.
All right, so I think last meeting I reported we had approximately 12 positions open. Our principals have got on it and they've been hired like crazy over the course of the last 2 weeks. So how I laid this out, I did not put Lowry and the junior high on here because they don't have any openings. So I didn't want to, yeah, I mean, there was one, so you'll note over here, I talked about a couple positions at the junior high, but Lowry didn't have any vacancies whatsoever. So that's why you don't see them on there. Yeah, and the junior high had 2. So I didn't feel like it was important to have them listed on here. So obviously the main movement was at the 3 now K6 schools. And so I've listed them on here. I'll note some of the new administration that's at each of the school sites. So at French Ford, we have Chelsea Kabatbat and Nikki Bengachia leading it. At Sonoma, we have Becca Fitzgerald and Ashley Ramos will continue as the VP. And then I'll note as we go to current postings that I had a resignation from Miss Westmoreland yesterday and a resignation from Mrs. Oh my gosh, I was going to say Anderson, but yeah, that was wrong, Caitlin. So anyway, we now have a vacancy we need to fill at Grass Valley that came up just yesterday. When you look through these lists, I want everybody to know, so blue is new teachers that we've hired that are certified, that have all their degrees in place. Hannah's returning to us in first grade. Yeah, she had left for a year, so she's back. I want to note Shanae and Aubrey, who did their student teaching with us this year, so that was exciting to have them continue and come in licensed for us. And then you can see everybody else, obviously there was movement everywhere, but this is where everybody ended up. The reason that I have these individuals highlighted, and I guess that's kind of an orange, but those, didn't want to go full UNLV red because I'm a UNR guy, but these are individuals that are in our UNLV program and will be student teaching this year and graduating and becoming fully licensed between this year and next year. So just wanted to point those out as we go through this, right? So if you look back, French Ford, fully full, which is pretty exciting. We're fully staffed at that point. Sonoma Heights is actually entirely full too, outside of one sped position. And that one took longer than others because we had to figure out sped numbers at the school site. So we just notified principals yesterday of their staffing allotment for special education. So they'll start working on that as we speak. Again, we have noticed the 2 big vacancies at Grass Valley that happened. I would also note first grade just got opened today, actually, because they have very high first grade numbers. We were looking at like 91 kids in first grade out there, which is crazier. Yeah, it was a big. So we opened up that position. That's why it has not been filled yet. And then we just had a resignation in second grade and another individual that moved to one of the vacant 5th and 6th grade positions. So that's where we see these 3 positions sitting empty. Amber honestly just hasn't had a lot of time to work on hiring for those 3 spots, but I trust that she'll find somebody accomplished.
She's here till the end of the year?
Yeah, she's here till the end of the year.
When I talked to her, she felt pretty good that she would be full.
Yeah, I think we'll be full in those spots. And then notice one more, again, this is just an allotment that got opened as we've done sped case numbers. And so this was just provided to her yesterday. And so she's working at this point on filling that sped position also. So in our elementaries, we're down to 2 special education positions, 3 classroom positions. So we're down to 6 jobs there. And then again, needing to fill the administrative positions out there at this point.
Now, and all these positions are filled with certified teachers, other than those that are going to finishing their student teaching.
Everybody on here is a certified teacher. Anybody here in red will be a certified teacher by the end of this year, if not by Christmas at the latest. So they're all on that UNLV, or I think one of these might be in the GDC program also. But yeah, everybody is in a program and will be student teaching and done this year. That's okay. So no more. We don't have a critical needs teacher on here, and then as of right now, everybody has a certification that's in the white color.
How about denial? I didn't see denial.
Yep. So that one's over here. So a couple more positions to note. 7th grade had a junior science math position open. They filled it with Darren Nelson. Multi-grade level at Paradise Valley, they took Jared Kiefer as a transfer. He was out there at one point and wants to go back. Yeah, community's pretty excited about that, I believe.
I was gonna say, they're really excited.
Yeah.
That one is really.
Yeah. Sped at junior high, Mrs. Evans was able to fill with Brittany Lopez, who's in the UNLV program and will be finishing this year. And then we had a SPED CLS. Note that we have a school psych position open. Marie West had asked to go back and teach in a classroom. So that's why we have a school psych open, but it did close a CLS position in the junior high for us. So, and then finally we have the 2 principals, the vice principal, and then as Lori noted, and I forgot to add it on here, multitasking today, but we have the denial position that's open. I did have Susan Montero reached out to me and told me that there was a couple teachers in fields that might be interested in that position. So Susan and I talked today about that actually. So
Okay, good.
hopefully, fingers crossed, one of them applied out there. So really, again, we're down to 3 classroom teachers, 2 special ed teachers to hire. Those were all allotments that were opened just recently. So we're on a good track to fill our classrooms and have everybody. Honestly, by the end of next year, we potentially will have a certified teacher in every classroom in our district, which is super exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah, super exciting. So, are there any questions around any of this?
Good job.
Mm-hmm.
The UNLV stuff's exciting.
Yeah, seeing that is absolutely amazing to me. I think that's incredible.
And we have several more that are in the program that just aren't in a teaching position right now. So it's cool to see all those orange. I will never put red on there, but
And we should still make sure that we're actively promoting that program.
Right,
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Haven't heard about it in a little while, but to make sure it's
That
constantly
it doesn't slip through the
recycled.
cracks.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's amazing.
Yeah, our principals really are Alani, because I know just yesterday I had another individual reach out to me about it. So, and I think the biggest promoter is word of mouth and let these individuals go, hey, this is how easy it was, or they did this while I worked for you guys, you know, it's exciting.
Yeah, I think it's great.
It's just cool to have it. It's just, anyway, I'll do it.
Good job, good work.
That's the funding stuff.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
So far.
And our high school is fully.
Our high school and junior high have fully been certified the last year.
Yeah, which
So,
is
yeah,
nice.
which is cool.
Has there been any interest in the permit?
None right now. No.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none. Moving on to item H, public comment. Is there any further public comment this evening?
Mine isn't so much a public comment, but Sonoma Heights this past quarter has really been working on PBL, project-based learning. We've had Ed and our PDP come in. And so I just wanted to invite the board on May 28th from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. We're doing school-wide presentations that the students will be presenting their projects. And if you come and witness it and talk to them, you will see a lot of those characteristics that you guys just discussed with the portrait learner.
What time did you say?
May 28th, 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock.
2 to 3.
Melinda, if you would send me that information, I can get it sent out to all the board.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. That's exciting. That's cool.
Oh, so it's a Thursday.
Any other public comment?
Hi, Dawn Hagnes. I'm here tonight as a parent of a senior at Lowry High School and a representative from the Sober Senior Grad Party. I'm one of about 5 parents across our senior class who are participating in helping our seniors celebrate their end of the year party. And we have, we've hit our fundraising goal with the money that we have coming in, which is fantastic. We're super excited about that. Just waiting on some final things. So I have to give credit to a few people. I want to thank Kobe. There's been a couple times where he's been bothered or accounting has been bothered because we've needed like a signature that just has held us up when we're wire transferring money between businesses. So thank you for that. Thank you to your accounting staff. Thank you to Sean, who has way more important things to do at the school than worry about us. He'll say, I'm sorry I didn't get back to you right away, but you'll understand when you get a robocall, which clearly I do understand. So I just appreciate the things that he does for us and the office staff, and a real huge thank you to Cheryl Aiken, who is the one that I work with real closely because we're constantly depositing money and she communicates monthly with the amount. So we appreciate all that. Just so you know, this party has now been in place for almost 30 years, 28 years this year, and it really is to stop kids from having accidents on their graduation night, which is what was happening prior to 1998. And so we're proud to still be able to bring it back this year. So you know it is being moved back to the Boys and Girls Club. We asked the kids where they wanted to be, and they wanted some separate spaces. So we have, which means it's a great thing because kids will have some quieter areas that they can go to. But if you've been in any of the facilities, you also know that means we need more supervision. And by supervision, we have never had a problem. Like even when I worked for the school district, we always attended those parties. We have never had problems there, but we obviously need to have adults and eyes on facilities, right? And so I just invite you to spend an hour with us or just stop by. I know you already are on stage that night, you have lots of things to do, but it's a great event and we're very proud of it every year. And we're grateful for the community, like for the volunteer fire department who gave us their big old grill. The kids said, hey, we want burgers and hot dogs. And so Target Hospitality gave us 350 burgers and hot dogs and all the condiments, everything to go with it, on top of all the other food we'll have. So you'll be well fed. And we'll have the popular soda bars. What am I trying to think of?
Oh, yeah, dirty sodas.
Dirty sodas, because that was a big thing for the kids. And so we're just excited about it. I'm trying to get their feedback. And there's a lot of events coming up on the Wednesdays all through May. And so thank you. And one last thing. We have been selling Krispy Kreme donuts. And so I come to you tonight to know that we sold about 100 dozen, but we ordered 500 dozen. So there will be an opportunity to still buy donuts if you would like for Mother's Day weekend or any other purpose next week. And we're delivering to the schools for those that want them. Just a little selfish pitch there for you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. Seeing no other public comment, moving on to item I, board reports. After the last meeting, I believe Colby sent out the new description to everybody and got feedback from everybody. So our understanding is everybody has seen this now. It's each trustee will have 3 minutes to provide the community with an update of the trustees' activities related to the Humboldt County School District. No discussion from the Board of Trustees will occur under this item, and personnel issues may not be raised in the interest of due process and privacy. So with that, does anybody have any board reports this evening? Ron?
My only report is that Chartwell's hired a new director of dining services, and she is our own Angie Gonzalez, who lives out in Paradise Valley. So it's cool to have that local direct pipeline right there. I've worked with Angie's husband for years at Crawford Farms, and got a lot of respect for her. So awesome to see her in that position.
I attended the NASB meeting Friday afternoon. There's really not, like you guys said, a ton going on because it's not a legislative year. But they are working on the tentative calendar for next year, so just a date to be aware of. They're looking at March 10th for our legislative day, but obviously once they finalize everything, I'll bring that back. I think everybody got my message around the NIAA seat that's coming up. The one thing that I didn't realize until after the fact is that you have to have at least 3 years remaining on the board to apply. So you expressed some interest, but if anybody else is interested, please let me know and I can get you the information. I also just want to say, Dawn, you give so much grace and all of this around the senior night, but last year you didn't have a senior and you were there with every single, at every meeting. So I think we need to support that because there are parents showing up that don't even have graduating seniors. So if we can be there, we should be there. That's all.
I just want to make sure I put a huge thank you out to Amadee's office. Everybody at Amadee's office has been putting up with phone calls for me on a very regular basis, and as well as from my father and from a lot of other people that I basically told every person I knew to call that office to support the grammar school. But they've been absolutely just the most amazing people every time I call. Always very helpful, always understanding and empathetic towards what we're trying to do here. So a big thank you out to them. I'd also like to thank the Nevada Historical Preservation Society. They've dealt with a lot of, I've made them do a lot of work on the grammar school projects and stuff like that. They've also been extremely helpful, and I've been sharing a lot of information that I've been finding on the outside with them so that they have it for the file for that school. And lastly, the insurance group that we have been working with, we've been doing a lot of work towards the health insurance for the school, and everyone has really asked a ton of just great questions and brought good stuff up. It's not a fun job talking insurance with multiple agents and stuff like that. I guess that's why I got it. But from the board side of it, it's something that's absolutely necessary, and having everyone being constructive and asking great questions. I'm really happy to be on that committee with them, and I think that I hope I'm providing something good to it. Everyone else is definitely providing good stuff for it, so I think we're going to come up with a good solution.
I just want to say thank you guys for always having the hard conversations. Today was pretty mild, but I appreciate our conversations. Our roles on the board are what we are supposed to be doing, and I feel like every time we leave here, whether we agree or not, we always have the good deep conversations that need to be had about what's going on. And then I just had a quick question for Colby. Have we sent out letters for the new zoning yet?
They're going out Tuesday.
Okay.
We have an admin meeting Thursday, so we wanted to make sure our administrators were communicated with. And then they're holding a meeting with the secretaries Tuesday, I think, morning, and then they'll go out Tuesday. Yep.
Okay.
That was one of our ways of verifying the addresses for kids too, because we've definitely had some interesting situations come up.
I'm sorry, Coach, I didn't miss the beginning. What letters? were
Zoning letters,
Zoning
where
letters.
kids will be zoned.
I was gonna ask that in the grammar school and I forgot, so.
Oh, yeah. Well, those will come out, and then I should be able to provide everybody with an enrollment update as well, and how that looks after that, because again, had a lot of addresses that didn't get verified, so need to still get verified.
Anybody else? Lori?
Yeah, I just wanted to tell the board that I am seriously contemplating that appointment on the NIAA board. I talked to Rick about it. I tried to call his office, but I got a different office, and it happened to be that board office.
Oh, yeah.
Her name's Tia.
Mhm.
The lady's name was Tia, and so we had a really nice discussion, and then just with Rick a little bit, so I'll probably be submitting an application for that. Haven't quite made up my mind yet.
Anybody else? Okay, I just had a couple thoughts I wanted to share, listening to our public comment and just as we worked through our agenda tonight. I think we've all kind of talked at one point or another about, we know that this 4-day discussion has been a very hot topic and we've heard a lot from the public. I do want people to know that just because there wasn't anything on this agenda doesn't mean that any of us have just pushed this to the side. It is a discussion that we definitely want to get more information on and make the decision very thoughtfully and thoroughly. I know that we have made some decisions very quickly this year, some big decisions, but they were decisions that had we had a choice to take more time, I don't think anybody on this board would have made these decisions as quickly as we had to. So we just want to make sure that we are making these big decisions the right way. But I don't want anybody to think that anybody on this board has forgotten any of those. And I just wanted to say that I am still very grateful to be on this board. We are not perfect people. We are not a perfect board. But I do firmly believe that our mission has not changed, that we very much put kids first, that we do try to come together collectively, even if it doesn't always look pretty. One thing I have learned through my years on the board now is that when we are doing things right, we often get silence. But I do want the community to know that I am grateful that when they feel that we are missing the mark, that they speak up. So I just want to say thank you to everybody that came and gave public comment, from all the individuals that have come up and talked to all of us outside of a board meeting. I know every single one of us has heard from somebody. So I'm just really grateful to this board and to our community. So if nobody else has anything further, are there any future?
I do, I have one thing. If you guys look at your desk, you will find your invites to the May 14th staff recognition. It's always been on Wednesday. This year got moved to Thursday. It's at the Boys and Girls Club, starts again at 5, ends at 6. The opening ceremony will be at 6 and dinner, and then pretty much start at 7. Because it's a quick turnaround and I have to give them a head count, it's being catered by the Martin. So it's a good, it'll be a good meal. But I do need to know if you will be attending and if you'll be bringing someone with you.
Put me down for 2.
What's the date again?
27th, Thursday, May 14th.
Can we let you know by tomorrow, Judy?
Yeah,
Friday would be
I'll-
nice.
Friday.
Friday would be nice.
I'll let you know.
Judy, I will not be there. I'll be out of town.
Just me, Judy.
Justin?
Okay, moving on to item J, future agenda items. Does anybody have anything that they are wanting to see on?
Are we gonna do grad assignments next time or soon? I feel like that should.
Yeah.
Normally, isn't it normally the first meeting in May?
I can't remember, I just thought about it tonight when. we
It
had
must
the
be a
public
May,
comment.
because I've been going back and
Grad
like reviewing,
assignments.
I've been going back and reviewing past
Okay.
board to just make sure I don't miss anything my first year, but I haven't seen that one yet, so it must be
Okay.
down the line, but I'll get it on there.
I thought about it right after our agenda call this last time, and I was pretty sure it's normally the first meeting in May.
I just couldn't remember, but
Assignments.
Don's public
Graduation.
comment made me realize that it's coming.
That it's close.
Yeah, it's
Creep
coming.
it up on us.
Your public comment made us realize it's closer than we think. Graduation.
Oh,
For graduation assignment.
Gotcha, German specific. Yeah, usually the first of May. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like,
I think it's
coming up.
Yeah.
That was all I had.
Does anybody have anything else they would like to see? Okay, seeing none. Moving on to item K, adjournment. I would take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everybody.
I know.